You're listening to Making Money Online with Lisa Johnson, the podcast that tells you what it really takes to build a business and the simple steps to get you there. I'm determined to share with you the reality of easy, simple business marketing tips to make passive income so that you can start making money online.
I'm so excited to tell you about Well the brand, which is founded by my friend Nikki Gundy and Sean Lehman. Well is a female lifestyle brand, and it celebrates being active and living well in hoodies and sweats that make you look and feel great. And you know, I've started my leisure wear phase right now, so it's perfect for me. If you're looking for great fitting, affordable active wear, your next favorite sweatshirt, or accessories that help you live, move, and travel well, go check out Well the brand at www.wellthebrand.com. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Making Money Online. Today I want to talk about partnerships. I have recently become involved in a business partnership with Karen, who was and still is, my ops director in the business that I have. And as you will have heard, I'm now starting this new partnership. And so we're doing it together as founders, with one of us as the CEO and one of us as the COO, but with, 50% of the responsibility. And so I've brought in two other people that I know have a brilliant partnership and who I've known for some years, Joe and Zoe from Figure Bookkeeper, just to try and help me through all of the different things I'm going to need to think about. And if you are in a partnership as well, or thinking about having a partnership, the kind of things that you will need to think about as well. So what Joe and Zoe actually do in their business is they help bookkeepers make more money from their bookkeeping skills. So welcome to the show, both of you.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Nice to be here. No worries. So first of all, remind me how long you have been in a partnership business.
4 years.
Okay, that's quite long for a partnership.
I think it's my longest ever other than my marriage, it's my longest ever partnership.
Of anything. And how did it come about?
So in 2018, I started a community for bookkeepers. I had been a bookkeeper for 20 years, struggling to build a family and build a business at the same time, making many mistakes. I had previous partnerships as well that had gone really badly wrong. And I was building this community, and alongside building a business, because I knew I was building something that I was craving and needing myself. There was like annual events that you'd go along to and you get really hyped up, and then I'd go home, and after a week or two I'd lose all my mojo and be like, I've got no one to talk to. I feel like a weirdo. No one wants to talk to me about bookkeeping. I'm getting excited about software. I'm getting excited about getting something to balance, and I don't have any friends that want to do this too. So I started building this community, but it was slow. It was slow because I didn't know what I was doing, and I had 3 children and the business, and so it wasn't like the main priority. But I started to get a little bit of traction. But then I went and spoke on stage at an accountancy event, and Zoe followed me on stage. And when she spoke, I was like, oh, she's like me. Oh my goodness. We imagine if us two did something together. So very frequently, as she stepped off stage, I went, I've got an idea and I really want to talk to you about a business. And she was like, okay, weirdo. And we started chatting just at like weekends. She'd be walking around the park with the kids, and we were snatching moments of time just to have a chat about what potentially something could look like. And then in January 2020, we decided as complete strangers to go and share an Airbnb in Reading. Zoe was in Bristol, I'm living in Kent, and we picked in the middle of the map. We went to gorgeous Reading on a sunny January, and we spent the weekend together, and we had a lot of post-it notes, wrapping paper. I actually had to beg to go to bed at midnight on the first night because I was really tired, but Zoe was just flowing with ideas. We ended up getting chucked out of our Airbnb. We'd overstayed our time. We went to a local library, then we went to an M&S cafe, and we just come up and we registered the business, come up with the business plan, everything at the end of that weekend. We're like, wow, okay, we can work together.
That's good work.
Weird.
Now, Zoe, you didn't know Joe at this point. You'd heard her speak on a stage. Was there no worries about, like, what if I go into partnership with this person and it doesn't work out, or we don't get on, or we have different ideas, or my work ethic is better than hers? Like, what was there any worries there?
I didn't know Jo, and so yeah, I don't know that I was worried, because we'd crossed paths a few times, haven't we? We'd seen each other at different events, and I knew Jo was in my world, and she was respected because she was always involved in consulting on the same things I was involved in. So I was like, okay, I know it seems we bring something, and she brought a very different element. Like, she'd already started building the community, she knew what she was doing. This was new to me, and I think we've always been a kind of yin and yang to each other. But yeah, it was a side hustle. I didn't take it very seriously because I didn't know that it was going to work. It was just an idea. But when we got together, and I think that really was the crucial thing, we knew we had to spend time together. I mean, going to stay in an apartment with someone who you have barely met, it was weird, wasn't it, Jo? And it was like, just turned up with our M&S supplies, and like, you were like, what kind of milk would you like in your tea? Like, we really had to go back. It was like dating.
Yeah, I love that though, and it just worked. And the whole thing where you said that she's the yin to my yang, I think that's what it should be like. I've seen quite a lot of people have partnerships because they get on really well and they're really alike, and I think that's probably not the best way. Like, with Karen and I, our values are the same. They always have been, but she's the opposite of me in nearly every way. Like, the way she works is like, I'm like, fly by the seat of your pants. I've had this idea. Let's just get it out there. And she's like, let's slow down and have a look at all the risks, and has a look at all the different things. We're so different. Like, if you look at the color charts, I'm a red and she's a green on the kind of way you do things and the way you sell kind of thing. Do you think that's why it works with you two?
Yeah, and we've had to do some really good work around our values as well. So at the beginning, we thought, well, if we can take a few £100s out of this business, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
And I mean, things have changed so much. It's our full-time employment now for us and our husbands as well. So the business has to work. But for us to get to that point, we had to, as families, as couples, work together and understand what we wanted as different families, and then work out how do we bring that together and make sure that the business can do it. So it's been a real, not that we didn't trust each other, but I feel like we started from that level where you would expect to have a certain level of trust with anybody, and then we've had to build it up. So I think we're like family. We know each other on a connection where we're like family now, but we had to work to get there.
So both of your husbands are in the business as well?
Yeah.
And does that work well? Do they know each other and they help each other?
They do now.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, they didn't, and they get on really well. So much so that, like, Zoe, me and you had an event in London a couple of months ago, and I said, bring your kids over. My husband will put them to bed and look after them. And you were like, really? And I was like, yeah. And he sent a photo of them in bed after they'd had a story. And so he's like, oh my God, they've never done that. So we are really close, and you spent New Year's at our house. Like, you have to get to that level when this is our lives. I had to understand everything that makes Zoe tick. And it's not been easy for either of us. We've had to get deep on, why do you think like that? I need to understand this because I feel like that's holding us back in business. And we've had to say, do you really want to be in this? Or shall we just buy one of us out? And like, is this really, we've had to have difficult conversations. And sometimes we've used coaches to help us mediate. Zoe always says, if I phone her, she knows that there's like a big thing, because otherwise it's just WhatsApps and voice notes. So if I phone, it means I've got something I need to say, or I'm very excited and I've had a conversation. I'm really excited. I need to tell you right now, and I need to hear your response to it. So we've had to learn a way of communicating. Also, Zoe lives in Wales. I live in England. Yeah, I mean, even I've tried to transcribe her voice notes and they're Welsh, which I don't understand. So that's not working. AI's not helped me there. But we've had to, so time, we don't get very much time in each other's presence and company. So it is really precious. And as you will know, being face to face with someone is very different. So we've had to build a lot of trust and know it's okay to ask the questions.
I was just going to say that, like, surely, like, one of the biggest things is the communication and realizing that if you're annoyed at something, or something's not sitting right with you that the other person has done, there must be a way to be able to say that. Because with some people, like I've got some friends that I just wouldn't do that with, but if you're in a partnership like that, you have to be able to say it, because otherwise it festers.
I remember us we were on a road trip last year. We were at a few events, and I convinced Joe to stop so we could go shopping. And we went and had a cup of tea, and my head was doing lots of different projects outside of Six Figure Bookkeeper as well. And you said to me, Joe, like, I'm all in, this is what I want to do. Do you want to be here? Do you want me to buy you out? Because I think that we don't spend lots of time together and in person. So those have to be the moments where we ask those difficult questions. It was really hard. There was like lots of crying, and but we got back on the same page, and we made it down there and then. It was so good. And I think it is a relationship like a marriage that you have to work on to be able to know it's okay to, like, the other person isn't going to be mad with you. They just want to know what's going on in your head. Yeah. So it has to be safe for you both to bring whatever you need to the table.
I think that's going to be really important.
And the other thing I really want to add there is something about energy and the beauty of partnerships when you are maybe a mother, a parent, or you have health issues or anything that's going on in your life. Zoe and I have had some massive life things go on while we've been in partnership. And we speak about having like this dance together, where sometimes I will have more energy and more excitement and I can pick up and say, it's fine, I've got this. And other times I haven't got the space and Zoe can. And I don't think that's talked about enough. Yes, there are pros and cons of partnership, but definitely for us, there was times last year that Zoe was going through a massive thing and I had to show up at events and Zoe wasn't able to, but there was I felt like, wow, I feel like it makes me feel good and I'm happy and so glad I can do it. But I also know that when I say Zoe, I can't, she can pick up. And that is a massive win when you're running a business, to keep some consistency.
Yeah, because often when you're doing this on your own, you have those days, like I have a chronic illness. When I have those days that I can't show up, there's no one else that can just pick up those pieces for me. I have a great team, but there's not a partner that can do that. So I'm looking forward to that ability to be able to go, at the moment I've got too much on my plate, and then at the moment you've got too much on your plate, and just doing that dance. And I think that's a really, really good point to make. So your business in this 4 years, you started out saying side hustle, it'll be good if we can make a few £100 every month. Where has it got to in 4 years?
So when I asked Zoe to join and the community, it had 60 members. We now have nearly 24,000.
Wow.
So the growth in the Facebook community has been massive. And the one thing we decided on, we had a very Zoe knew somebody that could talk to us about what we should be doing, because we had no idea what we should be doing. And he said about starting a podcast, and he said, you're a data business. If you can collect the data and understand this, you'll be winning. So in January 2020, maybe February 2020, we started our podcast. And so we dedicated an hour a week, Wednesday at 1 p.m, we will run a podcast. And we've now got 270 episodes. So that was our commitment. And it was very small. And this is what I like to say it's about consistency. It's about the boring
everyday
action, repeatable action that's got us. So now our podcast is sponsored by Xero.
Wow.
We speak on stages. Our community follow us. We are changing. We are industry disruptors in a very blue, pale, stale male industry. We turn up pink and loud with lots of bubbles and Prosecco. And we're like, let's make this fun. And we are here to change something and let people know that this is not about, we used to think bookkeepers as being little wifey in the corner that would do the books for the hubby. That's the industry we're in. And we were like, no, we're so much more than this. And, we're changing lives, we're changing businesses, we're making more money. And we are definitely in growth stage. Yeah. We're scaling. We are just about, we've started a couple of other businesses, but one of them is a software client work experience simulation business.
Amazing.
Working with AI. We've never done anything like this. It's exciting and new. And so we don't know where it's going,
But isn't that fun? Isn't that stage of your business? But I'm in that stage right now, and it's like, where's this going to go? Like, it is just fun to work on. It's creative.
Yeah, and I think it's when we realise that, you know, we're really lucky. I think building a network, being in your network, Lisa, being in other business owners' networks, and meeting other people who bring a different view, sort of from outside of the accounting and bookkeeping world, and giving us new ideas and different ways to think about things, has challenged us in terms of the purpose. And, you know, a lot of the decisions we've made have been driven by what are our family values and how do we get that from the business. But also just thinking, like, what's the bigger impact here? What do we really want to do? Because we said we want to help bookkeepers earn more money from their bookkeeping skills. That doesn't necessarily mean running your own business, because there's a real problem in the industry. Like, training costs money, and lots of people can't get work experience. It's quite privileged to be able to change career to do something else. So maybe you could be self-employed in the future. So how do we help people get access to the training or the work experience? And technology can help us to do that. And then sort of thinking, well, what does this look like for us? Is this aligned with the values that we've got? You know, there's so much happening, but we need to be having those conversations all the time to sort of make those changes. And I think that's a really exciting thing, that it's not just about, we could do this. It's like, what's the big purpose here?
Oh, yeah, because I totally get where you're coming from. There are so many ways to make money. We're presented with opportunities every day that will make us millions of pounds. But the values of what you do have to align with what the biggest vision is for the company. And so turning away things becomes part of that, and saying no to things and deciding what you do want to do. And I guess that's why in a partnership, your values have to be so aligned, because one of you might want to do something and the other person might say, well, actually, no, that I don't think that aligns with what we're doing.
And you have to be, we often say, you know, one of us have an idea and the other one's like, maybe not for now, or the other one, or we're like, yeah, let's go for it. I think that's the stage we're in, Lisa, is we are having to learn to say no. We're at this point where we have got a lot of opportunity, and we are so grateful. And when you're coming from that place of gratitude and pinch me moments of like, I'm just me. Why are we getting these opportunities? This is mental. And having to say no to things feels really ungrateful. And we want to help, but, you know, we are having to say, actually, no. And this is where coming back to the numbers as a business owner is so important, because we've had to work out what our financial freedom and independence numbers are, and what's that mean for us and our families and our husbands and our children. And then what does the business need to do to generate that? And then the numbers tell us everything, whether we're on track, off track. And we teach so much about, and it's been, because we're not running bookkeeping practices anymore. No. So we're running businesses. And this is what we say to our bookkeepers: you're business owners, or you are supporting business owners. You need to understand this stuff, this entrepreneurial stuff, which nobody teaches at college. And that's where we are changing the bookkeeping and accountancy industry.
Which is such a good idea, because if you are an entrepreneur and you have a business and you have a bookkeeper in your business, they need to understand business. They need to. It makes everything different. So yeah, what a great vision and thing to strive for, to help more people do that. Well, I love working with you. I love seeing all the stuff you're doing. I think it's amazing how much you've done in 4 years. And I imagine in the next 4 years, it's just going to explode even more. And you're a really good example of how a partnership can work really well, because we know that not all do. So it's great to see that. So if I have some bookkeepers listening on here, and I know I do, where is the best place for them to come? If they're like, well, actually, yeah, I need to learn the business stuff. I need to know how to make more money as a business myself. Where is the best place to come find you?
Best thing to do, if you like podcasts, is to listen to the Bookkeepers podcast, and then we'll invite you to our Facebook community, the Six Figure Bookkeepers Club.
Amazing. I will put the links in the show notes so that everybody can see that. But thank you so much for being here today, for chatting with us. And thank you, everybody, for listening. As always, if you're thinking about a partnership, I would love you to go to that strategy group and talk to us in there about any of the problems you're worried about, or if there's something that has already happened to you in a partnership that you can share with everybody else. Go in there and let us know. And I'll be back next week with another episode of Making Money Online.
Thank you for listening to Making Money Online with Lisa Johnson. If you'd like to get hold of my guide to launching, go to lisajohnson.com/launch and let's get you making money online.